Hi all, I have seen an out of this world video on the ICC library who are on YouTube, and the video in question is getting nearly over 1 million views within a few days now. It was featured on Reddit and it features a really amazing trap, and I just want to provide some analysis with this video of this trap. I think it's called the Fajarowicz trap, and it goes like this. It's in the Budapest Gambit. So the Dlugy game, he was playing someone called TrickyMate, who was rated just 1400 at the time. So is this like a new player? Who is this TrickyMate? Is he tricky? Knight f6, we see c4 and the Budapest Gambit, so e5, which kind of is an aggressive way of handling the dark squares. Actually, a lot of the gambits sometimes are trying to play for dark square pressure, and this is one of them. It's inflicting some pressure points. You know, the c5, the b4 squares, these are opened up. So black is gambiting a pawn, and knight e4 is played, not knight g4. Usually the way the Budapest Gambit is played, it's with knight g4. That's far more popular actually than knight e4. But there's a very, very tricky idea from TrickyMate here with knight e4. It's a very tricky knight. Knight f3, and the usual move here is bishop b4 check or knight c6, but the third most popular in live book, and this is really staggering to watch if you've not seen this before, is b6. It seems a crazy, terrible move, and all the more so you think someone 1400 just joined the ICC. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, so he's just played b6. And doesn't it allow a certain move in this position to play b6? Surely, actually, there's a double attack here on the queen and knight. Isn't that just end of game? So Maxim Dlugy, you know, rated 3131 at the time of this game, pretty good, not a bad blitz rating. Doesn't really see the problem here with queen d5, and who can blame him? What is the problem here? He's playing someone 1400. You know, isn't this just a blunder? So he plays queen d5, and yes, if knight c6, yes, then just queen takes and there's no problem, right? So what does black play here? Isn't black already busted? Time to resign, surely, after this ridiculous b6. So this breaks all the principles of having loose pieces. You know, there's a loose piece here, there's a loose piece here. All the principles of loose pieces have successfully been broken in the first 5 moves. And the double attack, loose pieces, you know, fall off to double attacks. Well, guess what black plays in this position? And this starts to be like an out of this world trap at this point when you see this next move. If I give you 5 seconds, guess what black plays here? Okay, black plays bishop b7. And now, what is going on? The queen is being drawn into black's position here, being sucked in like a Venus flytrap into black's position. This poor queen, flying around trying to win material, is being sucked in. If the queen retreats, isn't black just done fantastically well? If the queen doesn't take the bishop, then maybe black, you know, does knight a6 and is keen to gain another tempo soon, and this would be quite a decent position. So yes, Maxim Dlugy, he takes the bishop, and the point here now is starting to be revealed. Black closes the literal trap of the queen, knight c6, and it's actually quite difficult to see at the moment how to handle now this other knight coming to c5 just to win the queen. How does the queen flee from this position? What was tried was the obvious, you know, try and flee the queen via a6, you know, maybe, you know, to try and get to a4. But of course, yes, that would seem promising, and also it has another benefit here, that actually if black tries for the immediate knight c5, then the queen actually does escape via a3. Mission accomplished. You know, the queen's escaped and can flee then to e3. But the thing is, black is more cunning than simply knight c5 now to get this queen. Can you see what black actually plays to keep control of the a3 square and still play knight c5 if I give you 5 seconds here. It's incredible stuff, kind of pyrotechnic. And if you haven't seen the trap before, absolutely amazing how the queen is trapped here. So 5 seconds here. What would you play with black? The very strongest move. In fact, there's other moves which might actually be winning as well now, a clear advantage for black. But the strongest move is bishop b4 check. It keeps an eye on a3. So now after bishop d2, now we see knight c5 without queen a3. The queen is starting to feel fairly trapped without squares. It goes to b5. Yes, because if bishop takes, we just take that queen. No problem. So it goes to b5. She goes to b5. And now black just takes on d2 with check. And here the trap is completed. a6. It's worked like a Venus flytrap. I mean, for the queen. I mean, the queen is just trapped now. And what makes the game kind of immortal is the unbelievable continuation with great brevity. How white manages to lose from here by force pretty soon. So Maxim Dlugy gives up his queen and castles queenside. Black plays queen e7. I mean, the trap's over now, but this is also quite remarkable that black simply castles queenside with pressure down the d-file. It's a very uncomfortable position. f6 seems very logical, and now the queen is also activated across this diagonal, and Maxim blunders into horrifically, well, he's in a pretty bad state at this moment anyway, but he plays this, which now allows a forced mate in 4. Can you see what black plays here? Okay, knight a4. The position was terrible anyway at this point, but this is actually a forced mate in 4. There's no way that white can even play on from this position. He's getting mated pretty shortly because of this. there's no convenient way of defending b2 here. Yeah, king c2, queen takes b2. White can delay it a little bit, can throw some delays in with if it was like a bullet game. Knight d4 doesn't help though. Queen takes d4, throwing a check, and that's it. Going to be mated again. Next move here, whatever he does. So a startling finish after a startling trap from someone called TrickyMate, who was 1400 against the GM, who was 3-1, 3-1. It's one of the most remarkable, strange things I've seen this year, to be honest. I'm not sure. Maybe even the whole of last year. I don't know what you guys think of this. What an incredible trap. But apparently it's called the Fajarowicz trap. It has been documented before. So the naughtiness begins with b6. It may be worth trying this out in some blitz games on an unsuspecting opponent. Maybe with some expressions. Oh, what have I done? All these loose pieces with when you play b6. So you suck the queen in. And you make sure the queen hasn't got the escape on a3 by throwing in the check. So a very, very instructive trap, really. Maybe trapping is a skill in its own right, an art form in its own right. The queen is deprived a3, not knight c5. That would ruin the trap. So bishop b4, keeping an eye on a3, and then knight c5. And then here, in this position, bishop takes d2 is best as well. There's accuracy here. If a6, then that allows white to get queen takes b4 in, so that's quite a few pieces for the queen, and actually technically white would be okay. So the important thing here is also to take on d2 first, to lose minimal material to get that queen for minimal material with a6. A fantastic trap, I've got to say. Okay, comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.